enterprises have thousands of applications, right? And they've got lots and lots of different apps in their ecosystem. So one of the things we always go in and do is do that brainstorming exercise, and we sit down with the enterprise architects and understand what the ecosystem is like. Why are they investing in Wrike? Most often they're investing in Wrike because they're going through a transformation of how they do work. And so our first job is to help them understand that this is just the tip of the iceberg. The transformation with Wrike is not complete unless you brought in some other systems into this and build out those connections and automations and really build out your process flow end to end. And all the enterprise deals that we go into, Wrike Integrate is a core component of it. I would almost say that an enterprise deal is not complete without Integrate. Hi, my name is Shri, and I work at Wrike. Wrike is a leading collaborative work management platform. I head solution architecture for Wrike, and I've been with Wrike for a little over 3 years now. My objective is really to make Wrike sticky, and since we are all about single source of truth and providing visibility and collaboration between teams that do work in different parts of the organization from within Wrike, integration becomes a big part of that. And that's where we come in and we talk about their workflows and their processes and help them understand how to create some unique and intelligent automations between different platforms and Wrike so they can actually work a lot more efficiently and well. And some of the problems that we deal with are, these are always things that our customers aren't thinking about. So we really have to go and brainstorm and blue sky with customers to help them see a problem that they probably didn't even know existed. I often use the Steve Jobs analogy of you didn't know you needed an iPhone when it came out. You didn't know you needed an iPod when it came out, right? You were doing your job the way you were always doing it, and then now you can't live without these devices. And some of what we do is very similar, where we go into customers and they don't even know they have a problem. So we have to help them through that journey, help understand some of their ecosystem, some of the way they do work, and really blue sky with them and paint them a picture of what life could be if they went down the path of building some unique automations and work differently. Well, if we didn't have a platform like Workato and a whole team behind it this is your sweet spot and this is all you're invested in, it is a lot of engineering resources and time and dollars to be able to build something of this scale and nature. And we would probably have to build it all within our platform, and comes with anything else, right? You're now going to be building code, maintaining code, deploying it, supporting it. And so that's a huge cost and undertaking. But more than that, it's the time to market. I'm not going to be able to have 400 plus connectors and talk to anything in the ecosystem at the speed that I can right now. We go in to really transform businesses, and we are all about transforming the way they do work. We know that in the SaaS space, companies choose, a myriad of solutions for different use cases, right? So you might have expert solutions like the Salesforce, the Marketos, the NetSuites, the QuickBooks. They're all built for, and they do exactly very well at what they do. But now you put an employee or a team in the middle of this, and they have to use all these various applications and still get something done. It can get quickly very, very complex and very, very inefficient for a team member to execute on something. So I think that's where the beauty comes in of Wrike and also Workato, because Wrike is all about streamlining and really helping you focus to execute on work. And when we combine that with something like Workato is where the power comes in, right? Now we bring in these disparate systems, and you don't necessarily have to go out of Wrike into a Salesforce to do another action. You can fire that off with a very, very smart recipe that's triggered from an action that you're taking within your Wrike task without you having to leave the Wrike task and go to the other system. So when we start designing and building out these automations is truly when you can see the power of the transformation. And I think that's where the unique proposition of a good fit between something like Wrike and Workato comes in. We are able to go into all kinds of industries and all kinds of customers with the fact that we have the power of Workato and all of these connectors that already pre-exist. We can quickly build out these automations for customers and really transform the way they do work. Our use cases are varied, right? We might have very simple use case of a marketing team want to doing their work and wanting some automation between Wrike and Marketo or Wrike and HubSpot. And that might be a very, very simple use case. On the surface of it, it may seem like, oh, I am just reducing this action that I was otherwise doing manually, right? I was doing something in system A, and then I'm manually going on to some other system and trying to do the same data input possibly. And from that system, I'm going on to a third system to do a third action. It may all seem like, oh yeah, this is how I've been doing my work. But when you start reducing each of these manual steps, it's like, the number of drops that eventually end up becoming this big ocean. So even if I can reduce 30 minutes of your time every day, that can add up to a huge amount of time saving for you, which also results in ROI. And so a lot of times when we quantify that as these small steps that the customers, employees, for example, or teams are taking, and we automate those experiences and we build out something for them, it really adds up to several man hours a week, which adds up to several hours of time, a month and a year, and those savings can rack up significantly. But more than the ROI and the savings in terms of man hours, what we see employees and customers talk about is reducing employee burnout. Burnout is a real thing. And the more we proliferate and we have more tools and technologies to do different things, we aren't realizing, but we are on the back end causing quite a bit of burnout. So automating, simplifying, really helping someone focus on what they do best is a huge way to reduce that burnout and increase retention of your team, and also obviously improve efficiency, right? There's no price that you can put on efficiency, and that's what we try to achieve with a lot of the work that we do. How has the journey been now? And we can only tell based on the feedback that they love it and they're very, very pleased and happy, and they'll never go back to the way they were working ever again. I'll never go back to working the same way again. Any chance I get, I want to write a recipe and automate, right? My brain almost thinks that way now. So it's literally rewiring the way you think. Why do you want to do the same repetitive work? Wouldn't you rather be doing something that you enjoy doing rather than doing the same repetitive work? And if there's patterns like this that we can find of repeatable work, it's best to automate it. You can focus your time and energy on what you love doing and what you do best. So creative people, for example, marketing teams, they love to create. If you built a process and you want them to follow a certain process for different parts of their job to be done, that's taking time away from their creative work. I would rather give them 8 hours of the day to do creative work and automate the rest of it so the job can still get done, but they can focus on being more creative, and that creates more output from them anyway, and they're going to be happy and they're going to stay with the team longer. And that's just a small example, but you could take the same thing to anyone. You go to a software developer, they want to code. They don't want to be bogged down by the rest of the process you want them to follow for SDLC and for everything else. So if as part of my coding, I'm checking my code in and everything else just happens, I'm happy, right? Now, if you ask me to do a bunch of other work as part of that overall process for SDLC, I'll do it. It's like paying taxes, but I'm not happy. We use Wrike Integrate for all sorts of things from, in some cases, we've helped them sunset from a completely older system to using Wrike and built all sorts of things with Wrike Integrate to make that transition happen, because they are coming off of some other system onto Wrike, and now they want to, it's a change management thing. So people don't realize that Wrike is meant for this and it can do this. They're like, okay, we're moving off from System A to Wrike, and I used to do all this in System A, and I do the same thing in Wrike. And obviously, there are certain things the platform is built for, and everything else we're able to leverage, integrate, and write code, and munge with data and transform data and do whatever they want to do to make it seamless for them. And so when they're using Wrike, they're able to achieve that vision of, okay, I've now gone from this platform to Wrike. I can still do everything that I was able to do. All I can tell you is 100% of our enterprise deals have Integrate. So pretty much all the enterprise deals we have, Integrate is a core component of it, and they all leverage Integrate, and they leverage it, some more than others. And we always, in enterprise deals, we always start off with a small team, right? So we start off with a small team, and we're doing integration for something very small. But before we know it, these deals start growing and expanding, and from that small team, it starts getting wider. And so that's when the integrations take on a bigger role, because now you're talking about various other systems in the ecosystem. You're talking to different teams within the same organization that all want to interact with each other and do it in a seamless fashion. We see that very much between engineering teams or IT teams and non-IT teams. So the IT teams will have Jira in their house, and this non-IT team has bought Wrike, and we want the two to talk to each other and both to coexist seamlessly, but still have the visibility within Wrike for everything that's going on for that project. And so a Jira Wrike integration is quite common, where we try to create that visibility from within Wrike to what's happening in the Jira world without this business user having to go into Jira at all. So we do a lot of those in enterprise engagements and other. But I don't have a number to tell you as to how many enterprise deals have increased because of Integrate, but I do know that it's a very core component, and it's always asked about, and it's a decision factor for enterprises, right? Enterprises go through a large RFP cycle, and there is a box there called integration, and you've got to be able to have a talk track around it and explain and help them understand how they can do that. Wrike was very early to the game with Wrike Integrate, which is our white labeled Workato solution. And that definitely helped us kind of outbeat our competition, because the competition was not even talking about integrations at that point and doing the kinds of things that we are able to do because we have the Workato partnership, right? The fact that we are able to connect Wrike to so many other platforms in the ecosystem is only possible because of the 400 plus connectors in the Workato platform that we leverage to build out these automations and connections. And that is definitely a huge win for us. It's an investment we don't have to make in building out those connectors, and we are able to turn around and build these integrations for customers much faster and quicker than we could if we didn't have that. We have our core competency and we're really good at what we do, but if we want to expand and do these other services, it does take investment and take time, and certainly doable, but having a partnership like this certainly accelerates that process and gives us an edge in the marketplace to be able to do these cool things we're able to do with Wrike and other platforms that would not be possible otherwise. Our white label solution is called Wrike Integrate, and that's the white label solution of Workato that we position to customers. It's sold as an add-on. So any customers who come and speak to us about the need for integration, that's when we speak to them about this add-on that they can purchase. That's called Wrike Integrate. And we position it as a low-code platform, as an easy way for customers to be able to integrate between Wrike and all the other SaaS applications in their ecosystem. That certainly is something that resonates well with customers. We've got all types of customers, some that have tech chops, some that do not have tech chops. So when we go in and show them how simple and easy it is to create a recipe, to build out an automation for something that might be simple that they need or something more complex, it certainly helps them see the value of purchasing something like Integrate and Workato. And then there are customers who want to do this on their own, but they still leverage the power of this platform to be able to get those automations and integrations done in a fast manner than would otherwise be possible if they had to write standalone code leveraging the Wrike API or something else. So it helps in both scenarios, both with enterprise customers that have IT resources and have the people. I think a lot of organizations are actually seeing the power of these low-code platforms and wanting to leverage them because it helps them get solutions out much faster and in a much more scalable manner than they could if they try to build it all themselves. I believe we're at a tipping point in our automation integration journey. When we started off, we had a lot of demand for this and a lot of ways we were trying to help customers. I feel we're at a tipping point now where we need to kind of package things and make them simpler and easier for customers to use. We're clearly seeing a big distinction in the different types of customers who want to do these integrations. We've got the complex ones where we absolutely have to engage professional services and architects to go in and architect complex solutions, and that'll always be the case. But we've also got lots of smaller teams, smaller companies with lesser resources and lesser budgets, and really trying to build some things that are simple and easy for them, that even though this is a low-code platform, there might be still a bit of a lift for those smaller companies. So trying to create different opportunities and paths depending on the types of audience, I think is kind of the shift that I'm seeing us take. Workato gives us that ability to go across the breadth and depth. Given our life cycle and journey, I would highly recommend Workato for what it's designed for and what you are trying to achieve. This is one of the best platforms I've used. And I would highly recommend to any customer to really think about the intangibles, right? So they have to understand what it takes to build all of this and start getting to an end state versus leveraging a platform like Workato, which is SaaS-based and has all the tools and technologies for you to actually build out these integrations in a much faster manner. And integrations and automations and robotic process automations and building more operational efficiency into an organization should be table stakes for any organization to succeed. And so if that is something that you're focused on, you should seriously consider Workato.